The garage was my sanctuary. While other kids had playrooms filled with toys and games, I had a workspace cluttered with circuit boards, soldering irons, and endless prototypes of things that existed only in my imagination. My parents called it my junk collection, but to me, it was a laboratory where anything was possible. My name is Marcus Chen, and I've always been different. Not in the way my parents hoped. They wanted a son to follow the family tradition of becoming a doctor or lawyer. Instead, they got me, a kid who spent weekends taking apart computers and rebuilding them with modifications that made my father's eyes roll. Another waste of perfectly good equipment, he'd mutter every time he found me surrounded by dismantled electronics. My mother would just sigh, that deep, disappointed sigh that seemed to say, "Where did we go wrong?" I was 24 when I first conceived the idea that would change everything. I had just finished my master's in computer engineering, much to my parents' dismay. They had hoped the phase would pass, that I'd eventually see reason and apply to medical school. But I couldn't let go of my dream, creating technology that would change the world. The idea came to me during a late-night coding session. I was working on a project involving neural networks and artificial intelligence when I noticed something unusual in my code. A glitch, but not really a glitch. More like an unexpected pathway, a new way of processing information that I'd never seen before. For the next 6 months, I lived in that garage, surviving on energy drinks and determination. I was developing something revolutionary, an AI-driven adaptive learning system that could recognize and respond to human emotional states in real time. It wasn't just another chatbot or virtual assistant. This was different. This could change how humans interact with technology forever. My parents watched with growing concern as I poured every cent of my savings into the project. I maxed out my credit cards, buying components, skipped meals to afford better processors, and worked through nights until my eyes burned from staring at screens. "Marcus, this has gone too far," my father declared one evening, standing in the garage doorway with my mother. "You're wasting your life on this hobby." "It's not a hobby, Dad," I tried to explain, gesturing to the complex array of equipment on my workbench. "This is going to revolutionize human-computer interaction. The applications are endless: education, healthcare, therapeutic support." "Enough," my mother cut me off, her voice sharp with frustration. "Look at yourself, living in our garage like some kind of hermit, throwing away money on this garbage. Your cousin James just made partner at his law firm. And what are you doing? Playing with toys." I tried to stay calm, to explain the potential of what I was building. "The prototype is almost ready. Once it's working, you'll see." "See what?" My father scoffed. "Another failed experiment. Another waste of time. We didn't pay for your education so you could become some garage tinkerer." The words stung, but I was used to it. I'd been hearing variations of this speech my entire life. But this time was different. This time, I knew I was onto something extraordinary. "I need just 2 more months," I said quietly. "Give me that and I'll prove this isn't a waste." My father's expression hardened. 2 months? And then what? Another 2 months? Another year? "No, this ends now. Either get a real job or find somewhere else to live." My mother's eyes widened. "Henry, maybe." "No, Margaret. He needs to learn. Life isn't about chasing fantasies." I looked at my half-finished prototype, at the years of work scattered across the garage. Then I looked at my parents, standing there with their disappointed faces and crossed arms. In that moment, I made a decision that would alter all our lives forever. "I'll be gone by tomorrow," I said, my voice steady despite the trembling in my hands. My mother's face fell. "Marcus, don't be dramatic. We just want what's best for you." "No," I corrected her. "You want what's best for your image. This isn't about me. It's about what the neighbors think, what our relatives say." "Well, I'm done living for your approval." The next morning, I packed everything I could fit into my old Honda Civic. The prototype, my tools, my dreams, all crammed into a car that had seen better days. My parents watched from the kitchen window as I loaded the last box. I found a small apartment across town, more of a closet with a bathroom, really. The rent ate up most of my remaining savings, but it had enough space for my equipment, and more importantly, it was mine. No more disapproving glances, no more comparisons to successful cousins, no more ultimatums. For the next 3 months, I barely slept. When I wasn't working my day job as an IT consultant, I was refining my prototype. Every failure, every setback just pushed me harder. I knew I was close. I could feel it in my bones. Then, on a rainy Tuesday morning at 3:47 a.m., it worked. The system came alive, responding not just to voice commands but to subtle changes in tone, to micro-expressions, to the thousand tiny signals humans give off without realizing it. It learned, adapted, and grew more sophisticated with each interaction. I named it AIA, Adaptive Response Intelligence Algorithm. The first person I showed it to was Dr. Sarah Martinez, my former professor, and the only person who had ever truly believed in my potential. She sat in silence for 10 minutes, watching AIA interact with various test subjects, analyzing the data streams, examining the code. Finally, she looked at me, her eyes wide with amazement. "Marcus, do you realize what you've created?" I nodded slowly. "It works, doesn't it? It really works." She laughed, a sound of pure joy and wonder. "Works? Marcus, this isn't just working. This is revolutionary. The applications for this, my God, the possibilities are endless." "My parents think it's trash," I said quietly. Dr. Martinez shook her head, still staring at the screens. "Your parents are about to realize just how wrong they were. We need to protect this immediately. Patents, copyrights, everything." And then she smiled. "Then we're going to make some calls." The next few weeks were a blur of patent lawyers, NDAs, and meetings with increasingly important people. Word was spreading in the tech community about a breakthrough in emotional AI, and suddenly my phone wouldn't stop ringing. Then came the email that changed everything. "Dear Mr. Chen, I represent Microsoft's AI development division. We've heard intriguing things about your work with emotional recognition algorithms. Would you be interested in meeting to discuss potential collaboration opportunities?" I stared at my phone for a full minute, hardly daring to breathe. This was it, the validation I'd been seeking my entire life. But as I thought about responding, an unexpected emotion washed over me. Not joy, not triumph, but a deep, quiet certainty. This was just the beginning. Little did I know, as I typed my response, that my parents were about to discover exactly what their garage tinkerer's son had created. And when they did, nothing would ever be the same again. The morning Microsoft's offer became public, my phone exploded with notifications. Tech blogs were buzzing with speculation about the revolutionary emotional AI that had caught the attention of industry giants. My small apartment, which had felt like exile just months ago, was now command central for what was quickly becoming a bidding war. I sat at my makeshift desk, staring at the latest offer on my screen, $89 million. The number felt surreal, like something from a dream. But this was real. Microsoft wanted AIA, and they weren't the only ones. That's when the first text arrived from my mother. "Marcus, we saw the news. Please call us." I set my phone down without responding. 10 minutes later, another message. "Son, we need to talk. Your father and I are worried about you making hasty decisions." I almost laughed. Now they were worried about my decisions. After months of silence, after calling my life's work garbage, after kicking me out of the house, now they wanted to talk. Dr. Martinez called around noon. "Marcus, have you seen the counter offers? Google just entered the bidding, and there's serious interest from Apple." I rubbed my temples, feeling overwhelmed. "Sarah, I don't know what to do. This is bigger than anything I imagined." "Don't make any decisions yet," she advised. "Let them compete. What you've created is worth more than they're offering." The doorbell rang. Through my apartment's thin walls, I could hear multiple voices in the hallway. I knew who it was before I even looked through the peephole. There they stood, my parents, dressed in their Sunday best, wearing the forced smiles they usually reserve for important social occasions. My mother clutched her designer handbag like a shield. My father's hand was raised to knock again. For a moment, I considered not answering. But I knew this confrontation was inevitable. I opened the door. "Marcus." My mother stepped forward for a hug, but stopped when I didn't move to embrace her. "We've been so worried." "Have you?" I kept my voice neutral. "That's funny, because I haven't heard from you since you kicked me out." My father cleared his throat. "Son, we should talk inside. This isn't a conversation for hallways." I considered turning them away, but part of me wanted them to see this, my tiny apartment, my workstation, the place where their failure son had created something revolutionary. I stepped aside to let them in. My mother's eyes darted around the small space, taking in the computers, the prototype setup, the empty energy drink cans. Oh, Marcus, she sighed, you've been living like this. Living like what? I asked. Like someone who believes in something. Like someone who works for their dreams instead of following someone else's. Now, Marcus, my father started, using his lecture voice, we need to discuss this situation rationally. These tech companies, they're sharks. You need guidance. Proper legal representation. I cut him off. You mean like Cousin James? Is that why you're really here? To get a piece of the action, my father's face reddened. That's not fair. We're here because we're your parents. We want to protect you. Protect me? The laugh that escaped me was bitter. Where was this protection when you called my work garbage? When you threatened to throw me out? When you told the entire family I was wasting my life? We were wrong, my mother burst out, tears in her eyes. We were wrong, okay? Is that what you want to hear? We didn't understand what you were doing, but now that Microsoft is offering millions, suddenly my hobby is worth your time. The room fell silent. My father sat heavily on my worn couch, looking older than I remembered. My mother clutched her handbag tighter, mascara smearing slightly as she wiped her eyes. We're still family, she whispered. Doesn't that mean anything? Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. Another email from Microsoft, marked urgent. The offer had gone up to $95 million, with additional performance bonuses and a guaranteed position leading the development team. I looked at my parents, really looked at them. My father, who had never once asked me to explain my work. My mother, who had compared me to more successful relatives at every family gathering. They sat there now, not with pride in what I'd achieved, but with desperate calculation in their eyes. Family, I said slowly, means supporting each other even when there's nothing to gain. Family means believing in someone even when their dreams don't match your plans. Family means being there during the struggle, not just showing up for the success. Marcus, please, my mother started, but I held up my hand. I'm going to say this once, I continued, my voice steady. I'm not taking legal advice from Cousin James. I'm not letting you manage my money. I'm not giving you a chance to control this part of my life. My father stood up, his face darkening. You're making a mistake. You need us. No, I corrected him. I needed you. I needed you when I was working nights in the garage. I needed you when I was eating ramen noodles to afford components. I needed you when everyone else said I was crazy. But you weren't there. I walked to the door and opened it. I have a meeting with Microsoft's legal team in an hour. I think you should leave. Son, my father tried one last time. We can fix this. We're still family. I looked him in the eye. Family isn't something you get to be only when it's convenient. Goodbye, Dad. After they left, I sat down at my workstation. Aria's interface glowed softly, waiting for input. I thought about all the nights I'd spent talking to it, teaching it to recognize human emotions, to understand the subtle complexities of human interaction. Aria, I said softly, analyze emotional state. The system hummed to life. Current emotional indicators suggest a complex mixture of relief, vindication, and residual sadness. Would you like to explore these feelings further? I smiled. My creation understood me better than my own parents ever had. 2 weeks later, I signed the final papers in Microsoft's Seattle headquarters. The number had settled at $89 million, with substantial stock options and complete creative control over Aria's development. As I wrote my signature, I thought about the garage where it all started, about all the times I'd been told to give up, to be practical, to follow the expected path. My phone buzzed. Another text from my mother. We miss you. Please don't shut us out forever. We can change. I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I opened my laptop and wrote an email to Dr. Martinez, outlining my plans for a scholarship fund, one specifically designed for young inventors whose families don't support their dreams. I decided to name it the Garage Tinkerer's Grant. Maybe my parents would never truly understand or approve of my choices. But somewhere out there, another kid was sitting in a garage, surrounded by junk, dreaming up something amazing. And thanks to my worthless invention, they might get the chance I never had to pursue their dreams with support instead of scorn. As for my parents, they still send messages occasionally, usually when my name appears in tech news or when Aria reaches new milestones. I read them, but I rarely respond. Some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt with money or belated acceptance. Besides, I'm too busy revolutionizing human-computer interaction to worry about family drama. Araya is now being integrated into everything from educational software to mental health applications, helping millions of people in ways my parents never imagined possible. Sometimes, late at night in my new lab, much bigger than that old garage, I think about what my father said about life not being about chasing fantasies. He was right, in a way. Life isn't about chasing fantasies, it's about turning them into reality, even when no one else believes you can. And that's exactly what I did.